All right, folks, do not steer your business into a demolition derby. Welcome to the Red to Black podcast with Mario and Warner. Warner, what are your thoughts about tomahawking your business into a demolition derby?
Yeah, you never ever want to do that. So what are we talking about? We're talking about what New Zealand recently just did for one of those, let's say, cases. That's all I'll
Cerveza
say.
sickness cases.
Yeah, cerveza sickness. They locked down the entire country. So what does that do to a business? Well, now your business is in a situation where now your customers have gone from whatever amount down to another amount. And we know it's not good. So what we're applying is called the pandemic factor in today's day and world when it comes to business. It's what's happening. You can be pissed. You can take it out emotionally however you want, but that has no effect on you taking action. Anytime you get emotional, it's going to block your action. So what actions do we want to take? Well, if you're in an environment or a situation where you see a demolition derby coming your way in your business, you either want to pivot as quickly as possible, or hopefully you've done the groundwork ahead of time to prepare for that type of moment from what you've seen over the past year or two, where you can take a completely different direction. So you're either pivoting in the moment or you're taking a different direction. What you don't want to do is sit in a situation where these restaurants, like this guy named I Allegedly on YouTube, was talking about restaurants in the San Diego or Southern California area, which are 17 months behind in rent. Hey, folks, at some point, your restaurant is not worth being 17 months behind in rent because someone's going to come after you at some point. You may feel bad about it. You may think you deserve something. Nah, I'm sorry, but you don't deserve anything. The reason I say that is if you see a demolition derby, 17 months behind in rent is a demolition derby. You just got demolished. Do not put yourself in that situation. If your restaurant is there, your business is there, pivot as fast as possible because cash flow is king. Mario, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just noticed, Warner, that they're not talking about losing weight. They're not talking about what actually impacts your ability to bounce back or have a good, strong immune system. They're not advocating you to have an appropriate height and weight body index. They're not saying, hey, get a little thin. Thin is in, folks. They're not saying lose a little weight, eat some salads, exercise. They're saying shut down your business. Good to go. Good to go. Permanently shut it down. If you're in the restaurant business, permanently shut it down. Do not be able to have the government shut your business down, folks. It's have consequences for this. If the government's going to do this, and they've already established this. This is what they can do. They have the power to do this. Don't be in the kinds of businesses that they have the authority to shut you down. Be in mission critical businesses or mission essential businesses or businesses where they go, it's going to get too chaotic if we shut this kind of business down. Those are the kind of businesses you want to invest in, you want to buy, or you want to build, not a restaurant business, folks.
One caveat, what you could do is if you're bold enough to stay in the restaurant industry, and we talked about this in a prior podcast, is do a food truck. I know you're going to think, hey, I've been this, and I worked in the restaurant industry for a little bit at one of Thomas Keller's restaurants called Bouchon Bistro in where was it? In Beverly Hills. So I got a front row seat to how one of the best guys in the world runs a restaurant operation. It was phenomenal. He runs it like the military because I think his dad was an ex-Marine. It was phenomenally one of the best run organizations I've ever seen in a very low margin business. So get over your ego and just think, because this is what Mario talked about in this podcast, get over your ego. Your ego has no business with cash flow and paying you back for the money that you invest. Think of those two things. So if you're in a business where it's like, oh, I'm shut down, I've got to go outside, I've got to go inside, I do this, do that, do this. It's like you're running around with your head cut off, like a chicken with its head cut off. Get a food truck, then you can move. Okay, this state isn't going, I'm going to go to this state. I'm going to go to that state. I know if you have a family, it can be challenging, but the thing is, in this type of environment, it's a kinetic environment. Think about how you can move and be mobile and you do not want to step. If you find yourself in a demolition derby, please find an exit out of that derby, because I don't know if you've ever been to one, but most of the cars and vehicles, whatever else goes in a demolition derby, they don't come out in like the shape that they went in. Your thoughts, Mario?
Yeah, I
You don't
disagree with
go
you,
into the
Warner.
restaurant
So
industry.
you're thinking, no, you don't. You just don't. You don't even go down that road. That's a dark, lonely road to go down because for folks that are in New Zealand right now, you can't drive that truck to, let's say Darwin. You can't. You can't. You're thinking
That's
about L.A. Yeah, if you and I
Australia's
are,
in Darwin.
you can't get that. Yeah, yeah, you cannot drive that thing across the ocean. You can't go. You can't get that truck. The country got shut down, including stay-at-home orders. You're thinking about L.A. You and I are doing a food truck in L.A. We're going to drive that thing to Austin, Texas, and keep cranking. It doesn't work like that in Australia and New Zealand. So no, there's consequences, folks. You get out of those businesses and you go into better businesses that you can pivot and you can move and you can maneuver around these government edicts that are absolutely ridiculous. Are you going to stop? You're going to fist fight the win, folks? No, no. Eat healthy, exercise, and pivot your business and continue to crush. Don't allow these governments to shut your business down. And if they have, don't go back into that business. Pivot.
Yeah, great points. And just to reiterate what Mario was saying, see, I even got caught in the demolition derby. And I didn't realize that because I'm thinking from the standpoint of America. And you're right, in New Zealand, you probably can't even move around that country. So a food truck is not going to be the best option. So what we're saying is constantly be reassessing. Now, here's the thing. Here's your core. The core of a great entrepreneur and businessman is if you can communicate and execute, you'll do really well. Just communicate and execute, right? And then under that core is high operating margin business, right? And then creating a business that creates so much cash that you can pay back investors or pay back yourself. So just think of those few things. Just think of ability to communicate, ability to execute, and then picking the right business model. And you can pivot into anything. There's always business is all about providing value to someone else. You can always find that anywhere.
Yeah. Last point, Warner, is I've been to Australia. I've been to New Zealand. I love the people of New Zealand. I love that country. I love the people of Australia, and I love that country as well. And they have an open invitation here. We kind of joke around that New Zealand is our plan B or like bug out location, but Warner and I are working different options here in America. But my heart goes out to the folks in New Zealand right now that got their businesses and they're told to stay home and to shut everything down. So we love the people, we love that country. We don't agree with those draconian measures to lock people down, to put them on house arrest for one case of flu. Stop.
Yeah, and I know it's a challenging environment because you may have grandparents and other individuals, friends and family that are around you. But here's what I do know. If you do nothing about your situation in the demolition derby, then you're going to get demolished. So just take a step each day. How can I improve this situation? How can I get out of this demolition derby? What actions can I take? What's my plan for the future? Because doing nothing by default is going to get you more of the same. So, my situation's too intense. I've got family here and friends there. That all may be true, but that can all be worked and all be moved. And it starts with a thought in your mind. And it starts with creating a vision for the future and then creating action items to execute on that. So, yeah, guys, to leave you with this, if you find yourself in the demolition derby, then go the other way. If you're going towards the demolition derby, then steer in the other direction. If you're just a spectator at the demolition derby, that's a different story. But don't be a participant in the demolition derby. Thank you guys for your time and effort, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future.